What's up guys, DIY Salvage Guy here, and today is very special. Today we're going to be doing the first car review on this channel. It's going to be the 2008 BMW 650i that I previously owned. Now the types of reviews that I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to go into safety, I'm not going to go into all these other things. You guys could read countless reviews of when the vehicle first came out from reputable companies like Motor Trend, Top Gear, Jalopnik, all these ones that just go into those types of technical specs when it's new. This is focusing on what it's like to actually own the vehicle and whether or not you should actually buy one when it's used. So since this is a new concept, I'm going to be evolving as I go. So if there's specific things that you guys want to see reviewed on a certain vehicle, let me know and I'll make sure that I add that into a future video. So today we're going to be focusing on the ownership experience and what it was like to actually drive the car, maintain the car, and basically how much it cost me during the 3 years of ownership and 20,000 miles that I had the vehicle for. If you guys are new here, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys will like, subscribe, throw me some comments down below. Make sure your post notifications are on. And also make sure you guys are following me over on Instagram. Post the link down below so that you guys can stay up to date on the build, future car reviews, and everything else that goes on this channel. To all my returning viewers and subscribers, thank you guys so much for coming back and continuing to support me. If there's a vehicle that you guys would like to see reviewed, let me know. I'll try to get my hands on it, try to give a true ownership experience behind it, and give you guys a honest and unbiased opinion about what I think about a vehicle that could be purchased used and what the true ownership experience behind that is going to be. So as I mentioned in the reveal video for this concept, I want to be doing unbiased reviews based off of true ownership experience so that people can get an understanding of what the vehicle is like to actually own, how much it's going to cost, and what you can expect to break on certain things. Also, I'm going to give you my 100% opinion in a completely unscientific scale towards the end of the video. It's going to include handling and power, such as a driving experience. It's going to include styling for your exterior. It'll include your interior all over. It'll be the styling, also comfort. Then it'll be a little bit into the reliability aspect. How often will something break down? And then also the cost of maintenance. How much will it be when that stuff actually does break? It'll be a total score of about 50, and then we'll see what it actually comes in as, and we'll give it a review and a score based off of that. So if you guys are just interested in that, I'll post a timestamp down below. And also, I do have a Google Doc that I'm going to be keeping for all of my car reviews and car builds and everything, so that you guys could see the true cost of ownership, how much I spent, where I got all the parts from, and what my total cost was in order to either build or maintain or own a car. I'll try to keep that as up to date as possible because not everyone that I do a review for is going to have that information available, but I can try to provide estimates for all of you guys. Hey guys, DIY Salvage Guy here, and today we're going to be doing a cost of ownership and an overall review of my 2008 BMW 650i. I'd gotten a request before I sold the car to actually just go into detail regarding what the ownership experience has been with this vehicle. So a little bit of background. I bought this vehicle about 3 years ago now, and it marked a huge milestone in my life. It was something that I had been saving for a really long time. It marked a spot in my life that my job was going good, my life was going good, and I wanted to celebrate with a vehicle that I felt was going to be something that was going to last me an extremely long time. So now you have BMWs, and you know, it's a love-hate relationship a lot of times because they're extremely expensive to fix, extremely expensive to repair if you go to a shop. So what I did was I basically just made sure that I understood how to do everything myself, taught myself, and that's basically what I did. So this is going to be a quick review of how I learned everything and basically everything that I did with the car, what I was able to do, what I wasn't able to do, and just basically quick overview. So I bought the car with 58,000 miles on it and it needed new tires. So went out, I bought these Goodyears, pretty good. They are still in really good shape. They probably have about 20,000 miles on them now. They have a high tread life, but I spent probably about $900 on tires to start with that. I did not go with the run flats because I don't like run flats. I would rather basically just get towed from AAA and deal with it that way. Run flats have a very stiff ride, and I wanted to make sure that this car was as smooth as possible. So that is the only thing that I did basically for the outside of the vehicle. quick shot of the interior. Basically, when I got this car, it was in pretty much pristine shape. Still looks to be in pristine shape. Looks great. So we're gonna pop the hood, give you guys a quick little view of that. So this is where people are going to have problems with any sort of vehicle. So on this vehicle, there's really no issues for the 20,000 miles that I own the car. So I'm gonna shut the engine off real quick. So with this vehicle, I had a couple things, standard oil changes that I had to do. And so the only things that I actually had to do with this vehicle was a valve cover gasket. So I replaced that myself. That's probably been about 5,000 miles since that was done. So you had both valve cover gaskets. That job was extremely simple. Just had to take off a lot of stuff, but it was really easy to get to. In the process, I also changed the spark plugs and the ignition coils as well. During all that, I went through FCP Euro like I always do and got a lifetime warranty on it because I expected to have the vehicle for a while. Not that I thought that I would have any more issues with it, but if I had any more issues, I would be able to get a lifetime warranty through that. So there were no issues after that. So the spark plugs, the coils, and the valve cover gaskets cost about $200, and it just had a little bit of labor involved. It took me about a day to do, and there was really no issues with that. So the other thing that went on this car is the water pump actually went. It is down in here. And so there was a pulley problem on it. The pulley started to get dislodged, so that was actually replaced. It happened at a bad time, so I wasn't able to do the job myself. I took it to a local shop that I trust very much, and they were able to knock it out. I think it cost me like $600 to get it done. They did it in a day, and I didn't have any issues with it. They did a radiator flush, coolant flush with it, obviously, because you have to do that. And that is basically the only things that I've had to do with this vehicle. Keep it clean, keep it washed, waxed, compounded, all that stuff. Also changed the air filter, but that's basically it. There has been no problems with this vehicle. There's been no cost of ownership that is outside the norm. This car has been extremely reliable, and if you guys are looking for a BMW 6 Series, look for the 2008 to 2010 models, because that's when BMW upgraded the engine and they fixed some of the problems that it has. I've heard that there are issues still in terms of the coolant transfer pipe. It basically runs down the center of your engine, and it basically just transfers all the coolant throughout the engine. And what I heard is that those pipes tend to leak around 100,000 miles, and BMW actually authorized a aftermarket fix with it because of the way that these engines are. You basically have to remove the entire front end of the vehicle, and I'm talking bumper, radiator, everything needs to come out, because you got to get down into here, down at the bottom of the engine, right into there, and you actually have to take the whole thing apart. And so the pipe goes all the way back there and runs all the way here, and it's not adjustable. So you basically need to take it out from back there and pull it out through the front of the engine. That's where you need to remove all of this. So what BMW actually did was they authorized a third-party fix. So basically you still need to take apart the entire engine, but you're allowed to now keep the front end intact. So what they did was they made an expandable tube. So you go in there now and you cut out the tube that is in there, and then you put in the expandable tube, and basically you expand it into place and then you lock it in. I didn't have this issue, but there are a lot of people that have had this issue with this engine. That is the only major thing that is still a problem on these, but I believe that they were fixed in the 2008 and the 2010 model years. So like I said, guys, these cars have been phenomenal. I'm extremely sad to see this go, but in order for me to continue giving you guys fresh content, I need to have different vehicles, and in order to have different vehicles, I need to spend a little bit of money in order to get them. So this is going to raise some capital for me, and I will be able to bring you guys more builds, more quality, and continue on with this channel to the best of my ability. So another thing about this vehicle is it's extremely practical. You have a lot of trunk space. You even have a little storage area that can go through into the cab itself. They say it's for like skis or snowboards. I would personally never take this vehicle on a mountain. It's rear wheel drive, it's a V8, it's a stick shift, and it would just be I think a really bad time if you're doing that. But a lot of space for basically anything that you would be doing normally. So the other thing that I did with this vehicle when I had the water pump replaced is I actually had the battery replaced as well, and batteries on BMWs are in the trunk. So that is a brand new BMW battery, and it was replaced within probably 6 months. So that's all good. And so that, I think, cost me about $400 in order to get the battery and get it programmed as well. I do have a scanner, which I wound up buying after I got the battery replaced, because to spend $400 on a battery and then another $150 to get it programmed was something more than I could bear. So I plan on having BMWs for a while, so I'm going to continue on with having these types of vehicles. So if I have to replace the battery or do anything like that myself, I am good to go and I don't have to spend money on that. So you got the stick shift, clutch down, push to start, starts right up. This car has always been a dream. Right now I am hoping to sell the vehicle with 78,000 miles on it, just south of 79. So through 20,000 miles, I've never broken down with it. It's been reliable, it's been a phenomenal car, and I am going to be extremely, extremely sad to see it go. But it's all part of growing and being able to bring you guys newer and better content. So, give you guys one quick scan of the vehicle itself. This leather is premium. It's so comfortable in here. One of the best seats I've ever sat in, and it's phenomenal. The vehicle itself is smooth. The power is very nice. Made it to the stick shift. It makes it so that there are extremely smooth shifts, but it's still a stick shift, so you have to have skill with the driver in order to be able to handle it. You know, just because the BMW doesn't mean that it's going to be perfectly smooth. Driven with a couple people that, you know, they can't handle it as well, and it's definitely jerky. So if you take your time with it and appreciate the vehicle, this is going to be one of the best vehicles you could ever possibly own. Let's take it for a quick spin around the block real quick. Not going to go too far because I'm filming, obviously, but the car is so smooth. Car kicks, purrs, sounds amazing. So that's going to do it for the quick review of the vehicle itself. Alright guys, about to sell the vehicle, and we're doing our last drive in it, just enjoying it one more time. I'm going to give this V8 one last little pull on it, third gear pull, and just really love this car. The new owner is going to enjoy it as much as I did. My time is up with it, sad as it is, but on to new projects, on to the next build, guys. So, in terms of driving experience, this vehicle I felt was a little bit underpowered. It's a little heavy. The engine is responsive, but it's really not that great, to be honest with you. It's got 360 horsepower, 360 torque, and it's mated to a 6-speed manual transmission. Now, I've driven Mustangs in the past with about the same power, and you press the gas and it just launches. And The fact that this car kind of bogs down a little bit and it doesn't have that initial jolt of power, that was something that was a big detriment to me. It was definitely a fun driving experience. The handling of it was it's a bigger car, so that's something that is going to be expected with that. So in terms of class, I put this at about a 6 because the amount of money that you spend on it, with the power that you expect to get and the handling from it, I expect the vehicle to be a little bit better than it actually turned out to be. In terms of styling, the BMW 6 Series has a bit of a controversial styling. I love the back. The front I could take or leave, so I give the exterior styling about a 6. The interior, I love the interior. The interior to me is absolutely perfect. It could be upgraded a little bit with the iDrive system, which comes in the future models, but right now the leather is so comfortable. It has such a pristine look to it, and it's just really something that I really enjoyed getting into every single time that I drove it. When I bought the car, it was in such pristine, immaculate condition that my mom actually didn't even want to put her feet down in it because she felt like she shouldn't put her shoes on something so nice. The comfort of the vehicle was unrivaled. I could drive this car cross country today and have absolutely no issues with it. In terms of reliability, as you guys saw in the video, tires, that's routine maintenance. Spark plugs and a tune, that is routine maintenance as well. The valve cover gaskets, I guess it's not really routine maintenance, but it was such an easy job to do that I don't even really consider it a detriment. Cars leak oil, it happens, gaskets go. This car is 12 years old, and stuff like that happens. The only thing that was a major component that did go is the water pump, and as I stated in the video, it happened at a very poor time for me, and I had a lot going on, so I needed to get the car fixed, and I wasn't able to do it myself. So I brought it to a shop that I trust very much. They did a coolant flush on it, and they replaced the water pump. The pump itself costs about $130. The labor that goes with it was about 5 hours worth of labor. So all in all, it cost me about $600+ in order to do. The other routine maintenance thing that I had to do on a 12-year-old vehicle was replace the battery. Now, BMW batteries are not that bad to replace, but you have to have a scanner in order to register them because the vehicle apparently takes more power from the battery as it drains so that it can adjust the charging system so that the battery has the longevity that it's supposed to. It's not your standard old school battery system, so make sure that you guys get it registered. It's something that you could do DIY. I highly recommend just buying a scanner and doing it that way, so because you're going to pay about an hour's worth of labor just to do it at a shop. So all in all, the cost of ownership wasn't that bad. Cost me about $2,000 to do everything, and the only thing that really broke on the vehicle, I would say, would be the valve cover gaskets and also the water pump going. So I would say that that was about $700. If I was doing it myself, it's about a $200 job just for the parts and a little bit of labor. So in terms of the interior styling, I'm going to rate this a 9 because, as I said, I think that this stuff is phenomenal. Now, I bought the vehicle with 58,000 miles on it, and I sold it with about 78,000 miles on it. I had it for 3 years, and I had very minor things go wrong with it. So I'm going to rate the reliability on this vehicle at about a 7. Now, it could be the way that the car was maintained, and who knows, but my ownership experience for 3 years, I'm going to rate it as a 7 because some things did break, but there were things that you kind of expect to have to replace in a older vehicle. And then finally, your cost to actually replace things, I'm going to rate it as about a 3. Valve cover gaskets were extremely cheap. They were about $38 each for each side. It's a V8, so it had 2 of them. That was about $70 in order to do, $80 to do. And the water pump itself was pretty cheap as well. But the labor that goes behind these vehicles is extremely expensive. You have to take it to a special shop. I wouldn't trust a regular seasoned mechanic at a normal place to kind of handle it. But if you're going to DIY it, then your cost of ownership is basically nothing. So it depends. It's a sliding scale based off of if you're going to be buying the vehicle and fixing it yourself. I would say it's about an 8. If you're going to be buying the vehicle and having someone else fix it, I'd say it's about a 3. So plus or minus, but I'm going to rate it as about a 3 because a lot of people are not going to be doing the same things that I'm doing with fixing the vehicle. So all in all, my total review, you have for about power and driving experience, it's a 6. For your exterior styling, I rated it about a 6 as well. They could have did a lot better with that. The interior, I rated it as a 9. I think it's phenomenal. Then you have your reliability factor, which I rate as a 7. And then you have your cost of ownership experience to actually replace all the parts that break, and I rate that as about a 3. 10 being the highest so that you don't have to pay that much out of pocket for a grand total score of 31. Now my score of 31 is based off of what you would be doing with this vehicle. You can get into it, you can love it, you can have so much fun with it. It's a perfect grand tour. It's the perfect driving machine in order to just really enjoy life. So if you guys know what you're looking for, this is a great vehicle. I love every bit of it. I think that BMW could have did a little bit better with it, which I think that they do improve on in the future models. But for the first iteration back from the hiatus that they had with the 6 Series, I love this car. It screams class, it screams luxury, and you guys, if you guys are looking for a vehicle like this, you know exactly what you're looking for. So that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the review. I hope you enjoyed the new concept that I'm focusing on, and I hope you guys can appreciate the kind of scale that I'm giving these things. This is my opinion, extremely unscientific. If you guys disagree, that's perfectly fine. I'm just trying to give you guys a real ownership experience of what it's like, the problems that I had, problems that you could potentially have as well, and also go into a bit of detail as to whether or not you should consider purchasing this vehicle. So if you guys are new here, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please make sure you guys like, subscribe, throw me some comments down below. Make sure your post notifications are on, and also make sure you guys are following me over on Instagram, because I do post things on there quicker than it makes its way over to YouTube. You were the first people to see the new concept on this channel. We're going to be continuing to review cars. We're going to be doing my own vehicles, we're going to be doing vehicles of friends, we're going to be doing vehicles of car dealers, and maybe one day we'll even get to be the point where we'll be able to get phone calls from luxury vehicles like Porsche, Audi, BMW, and all these top-end companies that want their cars reviewed. You know, I see these people over at Top Gear and Motor Trend and Jalopnik, and they're just having a blast test driving these vehicles and just enjoying them as much as they possibly can. They love their jobs, and I want to be able to do something like that as well. So maybe one day this will expand and it'll grow a little bit more, and I'll be able to get onto that level. So as I mentioned in the video, the BMW marked a very important time in my life. Is where I feel like I made it. And what I did was I went out, I bought a vehicle that I loved, and it was extremely hard for me to sell, and I loved every minute of owning that vehicle. And I hope that this video is something that can kind of inspire you guys to just go out and try to buy something that you love, and not to be worried about the potential problems of the vehicle or anything like that. Hope that you guys will pick up a wrench, buy a car, do whatever you got to do just to try to become a DIY salvage guy yourself.